Okay, we're learning Tractate Shabbos, holding in the 16th chapter. The name of the chapter is called Kisvei. And 118, start from the top. Matzilin Mozen Gimel Sudes, we save, rescue food of 3 meals on Shabbos. My love, the Lo Yochal. We spoke about a scenario where on Friday. Good morning, everyone.
Hi guys.
You have it open, 118. So we said yesterday, spoke about a case if a fire broke out on the Shabbos Eve. Okay?
Yeah.
We may save only enough food for 3 meals.
Right, and we were calculating.
So we're not sure if you already ate Friday night meal or didn't eat.
Right.
My love, the Lo Yochal. It says now, is the Mishnah not discussing a case where he has not yet eaten the Friday night meal? This proves that the Mishnah maintains that there is an obligation to eat only 3 meals on Shabbos. Remember the machlokes here, the 3 meals or 4 meals.
Yeah.
The Gemara says, so if he didn't eat, then it's a proof that this is proving that you only have to eat 3 meals. But if you already ate the Friday night meal and you're telling him that he's allowed to save 3 meals,
Right.
this is proving that you have to eat 4 meals on Shabbos.
Oh, maybe he's saving for Malav Malka.
Right, that's the 4th meal.
Right.
What's the 4th meal?
Malav Malka.
So the Gemara says, Lo Yochal. No, the Mishnah refers to where he has already eaten the Friday night meal. Therefore, we permit him to save food for 3 more meals, for a total of 4 meals. The Gemara again attempts to show from the next part of the Mishnah does not accord with Rabbi Chitka. Shachris matzil mozen shtei seudos. If fire broke out in the morning, we may save food for only 2 meals. My love, the Lo Yochal. Now, is the Mishnah not discussing a case where he has not yet eaten the morning/afternoon meal? Nevertheless, the Mishnah allows him to save only 2 meals. This proves that the Mishnah maintains that there is an obligation to eat only 2 meals during the daytime. The Shabbos meal and then the Suda Shlishis. The Gemara says, Lo Yochal. Actually, we're dealing with a case where he already ate the 2nd meal. Shabbos day, he ate. So we permit him to save enough food for 2 more meals, for a total of 4 meals. Suda Shlishis and Melav Malka. Gemara attempts another proof from the next part of the Mishnah. If a fire broke out in the afternoon, he may save a food for only 1 meal. My love, the Lo Yochal. Dealing with a case where he did not eat yet. The 3rd meal. So we see that the obligation is to eat only 3 meals. The Gemara says, Lo Yochal. Actually, he already ate the Suda Shlishis. And he would permit him to save enough food for 1 more meal, for the total of 4 Shabbos meals. But in the fact that the latter part of the Mishnah teaches, Rabbi Yossi says one may always save enough food for 3 meals. It is implied that the Tanakama maintains that only 3 meals are required. The Gemara accepts this proof and concludes, rather it is clear that our Mishnah is not in accordance with Rabbi Chitka. In any event, all Tanaim agree that the number of meals on the Shabbos is greater than on weekdays. This being so, the Gemara questions the portion of another Mishnah which establishes the criteria for determining eligibility for different forms of public assistance. How do we explain that which we learned in the following Mishnah? If a person is poor and he has food enough for 2 meals, shtei seudos, lo yitol min hatamchu is not allowed to collect from charity. Mani, whose opinion is it? Who is the Tan of this Mishnah? Lo Rabbon v'lo Rabbi Chidka. It's not the rabbis and it's not Rabbi Chidka. Igi Rabbon Chamas Re'avion. Or if it is the rabbis, why? There are 15 meals a week. 15 meals a week. If you divide it by 7 days, it comes out to 2.14 every day. If you divide it by 7. It says Mozen Arba Asar Loito. Mozen Arba Asar Loito Ma'kupa. If he has enough for 14 meals, that's 2 meals a day, not 15, 14 meals, he may not take from the charity box money. Who is the Tan of the Mishnah? Lo Rabbon v'lo Rabbi Chidka. It's not the rabbis, it's not Rabbi Chidka. Rabbon Chames Re'avion, because according to the rabbis, there are 15 meals a week. I guess 3 on Shabbos and 2 on every day.
Okay.
Rabbi Chidka Shis Surei Avion. And if it's Rabbi Chidka, it's 16 meals a week. I guess 4 on Shabbos and 2 during the week. Actually, the Mishnah follows the rabbis, and for the argument that even a person who lacks 15 meals should be eligible for assistance from the charity box, this is not a difficulty. We say to the applicant, to the person who is asking, what you were planning to eat for your nighttime meal after the conclusion of the Shabbos, Moishe Shabbos, eat instead on the Shabbos close to sundown for your third Shabbos meal. So we say that we have established the Mishnah follows the rabbis and not Rabbi Chidka. You can even say that it follows Rabbi Chidka. For we say to the applicant, what you were planning to eat on Friday morning, eat instead at night for the Shabbos meals. And the entire day of Friday we make him fast. This is certainty, not humanitarian.
He needs a diet.
The Gemara accepts this refutation, reconciles the Mishnah according to both the rabbis and Rabbi Chidka in a different way. Actually, the Rambam suggests to people to fast on Friday.
See?
For health reason.
Yeah. All right. So they're doing good.
At least diminish the amount of food that they eat on Friday.
They'll be hungry for Friday night.
Yeah. What about Rabbi Akiva? Rabbi Akiva said, it's better for treat your Shabbos like a weekday and don't ask favors from people.
That makes sense too.
Treat your Shabbos as a weekday, but do not be dependent on people for aid. So the Mishnah could agree with the rabbis or Bechidka that the sages enacted that a person should eat 3 or 4 meals on the Shabbos, but the enactment was only made for a person who can afford it. The Mishnah, on the other hand, speaks of a poor person who cannot afford any extra meals for the Shabbos. To him we tell, in accordance with the principles of Rabbi Akiva, that it is better not to accept charity and to only eat 2 meals on the Shabbos, just as he would do on a weekday. Mara considered whether the ruling, the first segment of the above Mishnah, can also be made consistent with the view of Bechidka. We do not give a poor man who travels from place to place, one who is passing through the city and will depart before nightfall, then a loaf of bread that cost a pudyon. Pudyon is a matbea, the coin. When 4 seahs of flour cost a selah. 4 seahs of flour cost a selah. Lon, if he stays overnight, we give him provisions for night lodging. V'im shavas, and if he spends the Shabbos in the city, we give him food for 3 meals. Lema Rabbonani, shall we say the Mishnah follows the view of the rabbis and not the view of Rabbi Chidka. The Gemara says Le'elo Rabbi Chidka. Actually, it does follow the view of Rabbi Chidka. Kegon deika suudu ba'adei, discussing a case in which he has 1 meal with him. Damrin lei ha deika ba'adoch achle. So we say to him, that meal which you have with you, eat on the Shabbos, and together with 3 meals we have given you, you'll be able to fulfill the commandments of eating 4 meals on the Shabbos. But when he departs on Sunday morning, does he depart empty-handed? Question mark. By forcing him to eat on the Shabbos, the only meal that he has in reserve, the result will be that when he leaves town on Sunday morning, he will live without any food in his possession. Surely this is not reasonable. We provide him with a meal to accompany him when he's ready to leave on Sunday. In the meantime, however, he must use his reserve meal for the Shabbos. My parnosas leina. What does it mean? Provisions for night lodging. Amrav papurio v'isadio, a bed and a pillow. Tanu rabon keol shocha boy navis medichon lechom shachis. Plates in which he ate on Friday evening may be washed to eat in them in the morning. Shachis medichon lechom tzoraim. Those in which he ate in the morning may be washed to eat them in the afternoon. But tzoraim medichon lechom b'mincha. Those in which he ate in the afternoon may be washed to eat them at mincha. From mincha and onwards, however, he may no longer wash the plates because they will no longer be needed that Shabbos. Aval koises v'chitniyos tzloichiyos madiach v'elach kolam kulo, but cups, drinking ladles, and pitchers may be washed all day long, even after mincha time. Because there is no fixed time for drinking. People are prone to drink any time, even outside of meal times. Rabbi Shimon Pazi said in the name of Yeshua ben Levi, who reported in the name of Bar Kapor. Whoever fulfills the precept of eating 3 meals on the Shabbos is spared from 3 misfortunes. From the travails of Mashiach. Messianic era will be preceded by extremely difficult times. These are referred to in various places by the Talmud as the travails of Mashiach.
Yeah, well, we're having that now.
From Medina Shel Gehenna, and from the judgment of Gehenna.
Get that later. I'll get some of this.
And Umilchemes Gog uMagog, and from the war of Gog and Magog. It says prior to final redemption in 17, Gog, king of Magog, will lead the nations in a cataclysmic war against the Jews in Eretz Yisrael, as described in Yechezkel.
So why did the Rebbe think that the war with Iraq and Iran was that war?
So the Gemara does a scriptural proof for each of these things. Michael Mashiach, that he is spared from the travails of Mashiach, is deduced as follows. It is written here in regard to Shabbos meals, day, Yom. Uchsiv also, and is written there in regard to the advent of Mashiach, Hine onechi shoylach lochem eis Eliyahu hanavi lifnei bo yom. Behold, I send you Eliyahu the prophet before there arrives the day, etc., the day of Hashem, great and awesome, Medina shel Gehinnom, that he is spared from the judgment of Gehenna, is derived as follows. Ksiva hoyom, it is written here, day. Ksiva som yom evah yom ahu, and it is written there, in regard to Gehenna, a day of anger is that day. Milchemes mi milchemes goig umogog, that he is spared from the war of Gog and Magog, is deduced as follows. Ksiva hoyom, it is written here, day. Ksiva also b'yom by Gog, and it is written there on the day Gog comes. Amar Rabbi Yochanan Mishum Rabbi Yossi, Kol ha'ma'aneg Shabbos noisim lo nachlo bli meitzorim. Shenemar sisana galavai v'ikavticho v'moisot v'achalticho nachlas Yaakov avicho. So, Rabbi Yochanan reported in the name of Rabbi Yossi, whoever delights in the Shabbos, soon we're going to see what it means to delight on Shabbos, is granted a boundless heritage, as it says, if you proclaim the Shabbos a delight, Shabbos is a day of delight for you, then you shall be granted pleasure with Hashem, and I shall mount you astride the heights of the world, and I will provide you the heritage of your forefather Yaakov, etc. Your heritage will not be like Avram, regarding whom it is written, arise to walk about the land through its length and its breadth, for to you will I give it. And not like that of Yitzchak, regarding whom it is written, for to you and your offspring will I give all these lands. Rather, your heritage will be like that of Yaakov, regarding whom it is written, you shall burst out westward, eastward, northward, and southward, without any limit or border. He is spared from the oppression of exiles. It is written here concerning one who delights in the Shabbos, and I shall mount you astride the heights of the world. And it is written there, your foes will try to deceive you, but you will trample upon their haughty ones. The similar wording relates the two passages to each other. One who calls the Shabbos a delight will be spared from the oppression of his adversaries. Whoever delights in the Shabbos is granted his heart's wishes. This is a pasuk in Psalms 37:4. Eitz Chaim explains, although it is permitted to merely think about one's business affairs on the Shabbos, Smak and Reshis Chochma states that it is in keeping with Oyneg Shabbos not to think about these matters. Rather, he should proceed as if all his weekday pursuits had achieved their ends, and as if all the concerns troubling his mind had been resolved happily. Measure for measure, he will be granted his heart's desire.
Sounds good.
Whoever delights in the Shabbos is granted his heart's wishes. Shenemar v'yisaneg alavai v'yitecha mishalos libecho. Take delight in Hashem, and He will grant you your heart's wishes. Oineg zeh ein yodeh ma'u. I do not know what is meant by delight. What does it mean, delight? When it says, and you should proclaim the Shabbos a delight, I would say it refers to the delight of the Shabbos. Look at 13. It says, some authorities rule that Oineg Shabbos is a Torah requirement. Other authorities maintain that it is an enactment of the prophets or the rabbis. But what is Oineg Shabbos? Now the Gemara will answer it. With what foods should one delight in the Shabbos? So right away we know it's food.
Right.
It says. So what foods? So with what foods should one delight in the Shabbos? According over here to Eitz Chaim or Eitz Yosef, he says that it means to think that everything is done. All the work that needs to be done was already done. Over here it says, with what foods should one delight in the Shabbos? Rabbi Yehuda, Brei de Rav Shmuel Bar Shilas Mishmei de Rav Omar Rabbi Yehuda, the son of Rav Shmuel Bar Shilas, said in the name of Rav, Be'esav shir shel trodin ve'dogim g'delim v'rosh hashun. Dish of cooked beets, large fish, and cloves of garlic. It says in 14, these particular foods were highly regarded in Talmudic times, in other times and places, and similarly esteemed dishes. Cooked beets, large fish, and cloves of garlic. Rabbi Menashe Amitay, afilu dovar muat v'lichvod Shabbos hasoreh. He says, Oineg Shabbos means, according to Rav Menashe, the name of Rav, if one's funds are scarce. Yeah.
You don't have money.
He doesn't have much. Then, even if he prepares something small, but that small food is for the honor of the Shabbos, that is considered an oineg. Mai, what is the example of this? Amar of Papa, koso the house and all. What is koso the house? Small fish fried in their own oils and flour. Okay. Rabbi Chia Barabba said in the name of Yochanan, whoever observes the Shabbos according to its law, even if he worships idols, like the generation of Enosh, he is forgiven. Shenemar Asher Enosh Yaseh Zois v'gei mechaleloi. Shemer Shabbos mechaleloi. As it says, happy is the man, Enosh, who does this, etc., who safeguards the Shabbos from desecrating it. Al tikre mechaleloi ela mochule. Don't say mechaleloi, that he is not desecrating the Shabbos, rather say that his sins are forgiven. It is forgiven him. Mochule. Amar Uda Amar Rav in Morisham, we saw Shabbos Rishono, if the Jewish people had only observed the first Shabbos, first time they were commanded, right? And then you right away had the Mekoishish, the one who gathered wood on Shabbos. Remember, we learned.
So for him, we got thrown under the bus.
We are all one. All for one, one for all.
So because of him, we're thrown under the bus.
Remember, there's opinion that he not just gathered something that was detached. It was actually it was attached to the ground.
Right.
It's one opinion though. But anyhow, he desecrated Shabbos according to all, and that was the first Shabbos. But if that first Shabbos was done properly, lo yisholto ben uma v'lo shein, no race or nation could have assailed them. No one would be able to attack them. It says it happened on the seventh day. Oh, it's not just the Mekashish. It's everyone. They came to.
No, I think he happened.
They came to look for the man on the seventh day. Moshe told them by Yom HaShishi on the sixth day. He said, "You take for 2 days. Shabbos, you'll not find it."
Right.
And they did go out.
Right. I think that happened. This happened before that guy. Before Zolaf.
I have it here. It says.
I think this happened first.
Sheshes Yom Tilketu, 6th day you will gather it.
Right.
The 7th day you're not going to find it.
Right.
Vayi b'yom hashvi, and it happened on the 7th day. Yotzu minom lilkut. They went out to look for it, even though Moshe just told them.
Right. And Hashem said, "What's going on here?"
No, it says Hashem got upset at them. It says right away.
No, I'm saying
it says,
"What's going on here?"
Ad onam me'antum lishma. For how long you will be refusing to listen to my
commandments?
Yeah.
Right, but that happened first before the other guy went out. What does it matter?
The first Shabbos was messed up. If the Jewish people had only observed the first Shabbos, no race or nation could have assailed them. It says it happened on the 7th day that some people went out together. And right after, what does it say? Amalek comes and fights the Jewish people. Said the name of Hashem Yochai. If the Jewish people would only observe 2 Shabbos according to the law,
they would be redeemed immediately.
They would be redeemed immediately. Shnema But it says over here, Israel. Who is Israel? Yeah, probably referring to all Jewish people together. As it says, so says Hashem regarding the eunuchs, the Soris, who observe my Shabbos. It is written afterwards, and I will bring them to my holy mountain and make them joyful in my house of prayer. The burnt offering shall be accepted upon my altar. The burnt offerings and the sacrifices shall be accepted upon my altar. May my portion be among those who eat 3 meals on the Shabbos. May my portion be among those who complete the Hallel every day. At this point, the Gemara assumes that Rabbi Yossi refers to the Hallel said on festivals, comprising Psalms 113, 118.
Right, we know this, but it's every day.
The Gemara says, is this so? One who recites the Hallel every day is thereby belittling and blaspheming God.
27.
How then could Rabbi Yossi have considered its daily recital a worthy practice? Should be kept for... yeah.
27, the early prophets.
Or the early prophets would then recital of these words on special occasions as an expression of praise and gratitude to God. Someone who recites them constantly outside of their appropriate times reduces them to musical song and a farce. Furthermore, the Psalms of Hallel focus on God's ability to overrule the laws of nature and perform miraculous feats.
Miraculous feats of salvation.
Miraculous feats of salvation. Its recital is confined to a few days in the year, so as not to diminish the impact of this message. One who says Hallel daily is guilty of diminishing God's reputation. In this way, his utterances are thus a form of blasphemy.
But yet, but on the other hand, we see Az Yishir Moshe every day, no matter what. And we're talking about splitting the sea and giving all praise to Hashem, and that's part of the thing about Hallel, no? I'm just saying.
Let's see. Kikamrina, in regard to what do we say that one should complete the Hallel every day? Psuke de Zimra. In regard to
See, they're going the same way.
Psuke de Zimra, which we say every day.
Right, true. Amen.
Alleluia, Alus Hashem. These psalms do not dote on the subject of miraculous intervention, but rather concern matters that warrant praise every day. Amar Rabbi Chia v'Rabba Rabbi mitzvah lispalel im dimdumei chamo. It is a mitzvah to pray during the redness of the sun. Amar Rabbi Zera Ma'ikro. What is the source in scripture for this? Yira'ucha im shomesh v'lifnei oreach doir doirim. May they revere you with the shining of the sun, and before the moon shines throughout all generations. May my portion be among those who dies of intestinal disease. For the Master said, the majority of the righteous die from intestinal disease. This is a very painful form of death. However, those who suffer through it are cleansed of their sins. Rabbi Yossi said, may my portion be among those who die while on the way to perform a mitzvah. Rabbi Yossi said, may my portion be among those who begin the Shabbos in Tiberias earlier, and who end the Shabbos in Tziporis at a later time. So they take a few minutes before Shabbos, accept the Shabbos early, and let Shabbos and end Shabbos at like Tzipori, which is a later time. Tzipori was on the mountain, so Shabbos left later. And they started Shabbos earlier in Teveria because it's in the valley. May my portion be among those appointed to sit the students in the house of study, and not among those appointed to stand them on their feet in the house of study. I want to be a gabbai. May my portion be among charity collectors and not among charity distributors. May my portion be among those who are suspected but are free of guilt. I myself was suspected, but the fault was not mine. I performed 5 marital acts, and I sowed the seeds for 5 cedars within the Jewish people. All of his 5 sons were ordained as rabbis, and all were prominent men. Rabbi Yossi therefore refers to them as cedars, using a common scriptural metaphor. That's the interpretation of Maharsho. Who are the sons of Rabbi Yossi? Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Lozer Rabbi Yossi, V'chalafta Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Tilas Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Menachem Rabbi Yossi. These are the 5 cedars, the 5 sons. Vayiko Vardimas, but there is yet another son of Rabbi Yossi's name was Vardimas. So the Gemara says Vardimas and Menachem is the same name. Hainu Vardimas, Hainu Menachem. Vardimas and Menachem are the same person. His true name was Menachem. Why calling him Vardimas, and why was he called Vardimas? Shepon of Dem Leveret, because the cast of his face resembled a rose. Is that to say that Rabbi Yossi did not observe the oiner requirement? It says in 40, the Torah requires a husband to have relations with his wife periodically. Could it be that Rabbi Yossi would ignore this precept? Because it says, I only had 5 marital acts. So what about the whole time that he was married to his wife? Ama b'yesim yom lo korisu leishti ishti l'sheri sheri leishti beisi l'sheri sodi. So he said, in all my days I have never, Rabbi Yossi said, in all my days I have never called my wife, or my ox, my ox. So how did he call his wife? He didn't say my wife, he said my house, because she is the mainstay of my house, the one who is responsible for its proper functioning. And he called his ox, he called my field, Ulesheri Sodi, and I call my ox my field because it is the mainstay of my field. The field would not be toiled, would not be worked on without the ox. It says in all his days he never looked at his member. He never looked at his member. In all my days I never gazed at my circumcised member. It says out of extreme modesty. But they said to Rabbi Yehuda Nossi, why do they call you Rabbeinu HaKodesh, our holy teacher? In all my days I never gazed at my circumcised member. Now, if this was true of Rabbi Yossi as well, then Rabbi Yossi should have also called our holy teacher. There was another modest habit practiced by Rabbi that he did not place his hand below the level of his belt. For this reason, Rebbe was known as Rabbeinu HaKodesh, our holy teacher. In all my days, the beams of my house have never seen the seams of my tunic. One normally, it says in 45, one normally removes a tunic by grabbing the bottom edge and lifting it up over one's head. In this way, the inside seams are visible to the ceiling as the tunic is being turned inside out. However, one is then left bare for several moments until one enters under the covers. Rabbi Yossi's approach was more modest. He would first sit in bed with his tunic on and cover himself partially. He would then slide the tunic up over his head without turning it inside out. In this way, he would not have to expose himself as disrobed. So, extremely modest person, extremely modest tzaddik. Rabbi Yossi says, in all my days I have never disobeyed the words of my colleagues. For example, I know about myself that I'm not a Kohen. If my colleagues would tell me, go up to the platform where the Kohanim recite the priestly blessing, I would go up. But he never argued with them. I would go up, even though he knows he's not a Kohen. In all my days, I have never said something about someone and had to retreat when he confronted me. If I said something negative about someone and then he came and asked me if I indeed said it, I never had to deny my earlier. Rabbi Yossi held that any negative remark that the speaker would be willing to say before the subject is not included in the prohibition of Lashon Hara, evil speech. There's a whole lengthy discussion on this. Anyhow, going back to our topic, the Gemara records series of statements from different Amiroim who were exceedingly careful in the observance of a particular mitzvah. Av Nachman Teisili the Kaim Mishol Sudas b'Shabbos. May a reward come my way for having faithfully discharged the requirement to eat 3 meals on the Shabbos. Amar Rabbi Teisili the Kaim Mishon Tefillah. May a reward come to my way for having practiced contemplation of my prayer. Amar Rabuna Brei Rav Yeshua Teisili de lo yisagin arba mitzvos b'gilui rosh. May a reward come my way for never having gone for amis with my head uncovered. Amar Rav Sheishes Teisili the kaim is not tefillin. A reward come my way because I observed the mitzvah of tefillin. Amar Rav Nachman Teisili the kaim is not tzitzis. May a reward come my way for having observed the mitzvah of tzitzis. Amar Rav Yosef Rav Yosef Berei de Rabba. Rav Yosef said to Rav Yosef, the son of Rabba, Avuch b'maizer tfei, in which mitzvah was your father especially careful? Omar lei b'tzitzis, in the mitzvah of tzitzis. It happened one day that he was going up a ladder. If siklechuta, one of the strands, was cut short, and he did not come back down until he had hung another thread in its place. Was not willing to go down the ladder until you fix his tzitzis.
I got that. But
shows you how careful Avuch b'mai zoy tfei, which mitzvah Rabbah was especially careful. So he told them b'tzitzis, the mitzvah of tzitzis. And he gave him the example of the story that happened with the ladder. May a reward come my way because whenever I see a young Talmudic scholar whose tractate has been completed, I make a holiday for the rabbis. I make a big deal about a student completing a tractate. Abai was the dean of the yeshiva and made a party for all the students of the yeshiva when one of them had studied an entire tractate. For even those who did not themselves study the tractate together with the celebrant are also rightful participant in his quote in his feast if they are his friends and colleagues. This teaching has ramifications regard to the custom of not eating meat from Rosh Chodesh Av until after Tisha B'Av. An exception is made for someone celebrating a Siyum. Bruchim Tiyu.